Oklahoma Road Trip Idea, Part 2, Oklahoma City, Ponca City, and Tulsa. If you haven't watched Part 1 and are interested in Fort Sill, Lawton, the Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge, Medicine Park, Washita Battlefield National Historic Site, and Elk City, find the link above or in the video's description. If you only want to hear about a specific area, the chapters with times are listed in the description. At the end of this video, I will list, by region, impressive Oklahoma destinations not featured in this road trip idea, but worth looking into. If you have experience or insight into any of these destinations or nearby attractions, please share your thoughts in the comments section so travelers get another perspective and more information. If you haven't already, please support this channel by subscribing and turn on the notification bell for new video alerts. If you are interested, this information is also on my website at travelguidesfromchris.com, and there is a link to my Oklahoma blog in the description of this video. After spending time in the Great Plains of western Oklahoma, we traveled to the middle of the state to visit the state capital, Oklahoma City, also referred to as OKC. Oklahoma City began as a settlement onto what the government had claimed was unassigned land in the 1880s. Today, OKC is the most populated city in the state and has many attractions to consider visiting. The city has over 25 museums. I recommend staying at least 2 to 3 days. Oklahoma City just opened an important museum in September 2021. The First Americans Museum, otherwise known as FAM, is open daily except Tuesdays. Oklahoma is a multinational state and hosts 39 sovereign nations. The museum features living stories, cultures, and arts from the traditional to the contemporary. In addition, the First Americans Museum offers a FAM store, cafe, restaurant, classes, camps, and workshops. I look forward to visiting the First Americans Museum on my next Oklahoma City visit. In downtown OKC is the heart-wrenching Oklahoma City National Memorial Museum. The complex honors the victims of the April 19, 1995 deadly attack at the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. The bombing killed 168 people and injured over 680. The Memorial Museum details the events chronologically and shares information on those killed and survived in the attack. The excellent yet sobering museum features informative panels, artifacts, and has an interactive mobile app. After learning about the events in the Memorial Museum, walk in the outdoor symbolic memorial, which is open 24 hours a day and worth a view at night. Probably the most popular attraction in Oklahoma City is the educational and fascinating National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. The museum is in a large facility, and in 2020 it was named the #1 Western museum in the country by True West magazine. The museum is a homage to Western art, history, and culture. The exhibits showcase American cowboy life, rodeos, and Native American culture through artwork, artifacts, and memorabilia. The museum includes a variety of exhibits and will require at least 3 hours, so make sure you have a good brunch or lunch before arriving. When you walk in, you will immediately notice the 18-foot raw depiction of an exhausted Native American with his horse. The familiar sculpture is named Into the Trail and was created by James Earl Frazier. Other highlights in the museum include a full-scale Old Western town, a Western movie exhibit that contains a large John Wayne section, and a small movie theater that plays Old Westerns. In addition, the museum has intriguing exhibits on rodeos, bison, as well as cowboy and Native American clothing and accessories. The Oklahoma City Museum of Art has a wonderful assortment of American art. The museum is home to a large collection of Depression-era art that was created from the 1935's Works Progress Administration, a key part of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal. The museum also showcases one of the largest collections of glass from American artist Dale Chuley. The 55-foot tall glass sculpture in the main lobby was made by Chuley for the space and includes 2,100 individually blown glass parts in the sculpture. On the southern edge of the popular Bricktown district is the Centennial Land Run Monument that includes 45 bronze figures created by Oklahoma City native Paul Moore. The art installation is a beautiful series of life-size sculptures frozen in a scene from the 1889 opening of the Oklahoma Unassigned Lands. The path around the monument is wheelchair accessible, and there's easy access from the parking lot. The monument is located at the south end of the Bricktown Canal, as well as next to the repurposed grain silo, Rocktown Climbing Gym, which has indoor and outdoor climbing for all levels. The American Banjo Museum is in the Bricktown district and is home to the largest collection of banjos exhibited in the world. There are over 400 instruments. The museum is an excellent venue that educates visitors on the evolution of the American banjo, from its African roots through its heightened popularity in the 1920s to today's bluegrass, folk, and world music. There is an outstanding collection of beautiful ornate banjos from the 1920s that are truly a work of art. The fun Learning Lounge room allows visitors to grab a banjo off the wall to play while watching an instructional video. The world's largest cattle auction takes place at the Oklahoma National Stockyards weekly on Monday and Tuesday. In 1910, the stockyards became Oklahoma's first major industry. Stockyard City is also home to the International Professional Rodeo Association headquarters. The historic stockyards are not open for tours, however, the few blocks leading up to it are worth walking around. I recommend checking out Oklahoma Native Art and Jewelry Store, which sells items from over 63 artists and craftsmen. Langston's Western Wear flagship store, which was established in 1916, along with dining at the famous Cattleman's Steakhouse, established in 1910, and if you are up for a food adventure, try their lamb fries. Other great OKC attractions are Oklahoma Historical Society, River Sport Rapids and Adventures, Lake Hefner, Myriad Gardens, Oklahoma Contemporary Art Center, National Softball Hall of Fame, Skeletons Museum of Osteology, Factory Obscura, Harn Homestead, Firefighters Museum, OKC Rattlesnake Museum, 99's Museum of Women Pilots, Wheeler Ferris Wheel, the historic Santa Monica Pier Ferris Wheel, Oklahoma City Zoo, and Bricktown Water Taxi. OKC restaurant suggestions: Toby Keith's I Love This Bar and Grill, Tucker's Onion Burgers, Bedlam Barbecue, Hidalgo's Mexican Restaurant and Cantina, Chelino's Mexican, The Sushi Bar, and Queen of Sheba Ethiopian. We now travel north to visit Ponca City. Ponca City, named after the Ponca tribe, grew and flourished thanks to the petroleum industry. The city's 29 parks make up 10% of the city, and the nearby Arkansas River and Lake Ponca provide an assortment of outdoor activities. The city of 24,000 has plenty to offer visitors, to include remnants of contributions from oil man Ernest Whitmore Marlin. The elegant Marlin Mansion and Estate was once called the Palace on the Prairie, and today the property is owned by Ponca City. E.W. Marlin was a multi-millionaire oilman, a U.S. congressman, and the 10th governor of Oklahoma. During his life, he had controlled 10% of the world's oil reserves before losing his empire to what he stated was an uncontrolled bank industry. The stunning 55-room Italian Renaissance mansion is on 30 acres, which includes gardens and accompanying buildings. The estate is aesthetically pleasing, a National Historic Landmark, and known as an American castle. Visitors can tour the mansion in the wheelchair-accessible grounds. My favorite part of the tour is the gorgeous ballroom with its 24-karat gold-leafed covered ceiling. E.W. Marlin gifted the state of Oklahoma the 30-foot bronze pioneer woman statue designed by Bryant Baker, who named it Confident. The iconic statue was dedicated in 1930 and depicts a self-assured woman leading a child in one hand and clutching a Bible in another. Confident is displayed in front of the Pioneer Woman Museum, which celebrates women who blaze new trails and see no boundaries. The small, enjoyable museum displays artifacts and antiques, while telling the story of the pioneer woman's sacrifice. Another outstanding Ponca City destination is the Standing Bear Park, Museum and Education Center. Standing Bear was chief of the Ponca tribe that migrated to the region from northeast Nebraska during the Trail of Tears. Chief Standing Bear delivered a poignant civil rights message to the U.S. Circuit Court in Omaha, Nebraska during his 1879 trial for basic legal rights. The law at the time did not consider Native Americans persons, therefore determining that Native Americans could not sue the government for release of custody. After winning his case, the Native American rights champion toured major cities in the country to advocate and persuade Native American causes. The 22-foot statue of Standing Bear on site stands as a tribute to all Native Americans. The museum educates and honors the 6 area tribes: Osage, Pawnee, Oto-Missouri, Kaw, Tonkawa, and Ponca. The museum includes artwork, sculptures, paintings, and 3D bronze tribal seals. Each of the 6 area tribes have displays in the museum, and the outdoor walking trail provides educational information on the local tribes. In September, the park celebrates the annual Standing Bear Powwow, where visitors can witness powerful dancing, singing, and drumming. The social gathering honors the tribe's traditions and ancestors while bringing the community together. 7 miles southwest of Ponca City is the Miller Brothers 101 Ranch, a National Historic Landmark. Visit the grounds to see the remains of the once working ranch that had been one of the largest diversified farms. In 1905, the ranch became the birthplace of the historic 101 Ranch Wild West show that traveled throughout the United States and internationally. The show was an expansion to annual rodeos and presented roping, riding, bulldogging, Native American dancers, trick roping, riding, and shooting. Some other Ponca City attractions worth visiting are the Marlin Grand Home, Conecuh Museum, Wentz Pool, and Lake Ponca. Our final destination, Tulsa, was once the oil capital of the world. Oil was first discovered in Tulsa in 1901 at Red Fork and in 1905 at Glenpool, before becoming a state in 1907. In the early 20th century, Tulsa attracted oilmen to do business and became a boomtown for energy companies that drilled oil in other parts of the state. In the early 1920s, Tulsa was home to 400 petroleum companies and some of the most notable oilmen. Tulsa's oil wealth funded some of the world's best Art Deco architecture, a form of modernism, and 2 world-renowned art museums. There are many Tulsa attractions that you can drive to for a quick stop to admire. Driving through downtown Tulsa to observe the concentration of Art Deco is at the top of this list. If you are interested in doing a walking tour, download the PDF guide, Downtown Tulsa Self-Guided Historic Walking Tour, on the Travel Oklahoma website. The top attraction in Tulsa's downtown Deco district is the Boston Avenue United Methodist Church, a National Historic Landmark for its national architectural significance. The church is believed to be one of the best examples of ecclesiastical Art Deco architecture in the United States. Look for the exterior's stunning terracotta sculptures. The historic Philcade building's T-shaped lobby is striking with its polished marble, painted ceilings, and ornate chandeliers. The Philcade houses the Tulsa Art Deco Museum, where you will see beautiful Art Deco artifacts from all over the world. The museum has recently opened a second location inside the Tulsa-Rama Town Square on Route 66. Other downtown Tulsa buildings worth checking out are the Sinclair Building, Phil Tower, Kane's Ballroom, Mid-Continental Tower, and the Tulsa Union Depot, which contains the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame. The following 4 locations are great destinations for photo opportunities. Stop by the tallest freestanding statue in the U.S., the Golden Driller, in front of the Tulsa Expo Center. The 75-foot statue of an oil worker is Oklahoma's official state monument and is dedicated to the people of the petroleum industry. The Outsider's House from the 1983 Francis Ford Coppola directed coming-of-age movie, The Outsiders, is in Tulsa. The movie was based on the 1967 book written by Tulsa native S.E. Hinton. The house is a museum open for guided tours on most weekends. The Outsiders Museum includes movie and book memorabilia, artifacts, never-seen photos, and a gift shop. The quirky cave house, sometimes referred to as the Flintstone House, is an interesting building to drive by. You can also schedule a visit with the owner, Linda, who gives fun tours while sharing colorful stories of the house, Prohibition, and Tulsa history. The world's largest praying hands is at the entrance of the Oral Roberts University in Tulsa. The impressive 60-foot-tall bronze statue is well detailed, and the campus's buildings surrounding it are of unique contemporary architecture. Tulsa is home to 2 first-rate museums with comprehensive collections of Native American and Western art. Tulsa's crown jewel, the Gilchrist Museum, has the best collection of Western American art as well as an extensive collection of historic documents, artifacts, and archaeological finds. Thomas Gilchrist was an oilman, art collector, and philanthropist with Muskogee Nation ancestry who found oil on his tribal allotted land. Gilchrist collected what would become one of the world's greatest collections of Native American art and artifacts. When Gilchrist passed away, he left the collection to the city. The Gilchrist Museum also includes a growing collection of pieces from Central and South America. Currently, the Gilchrist Museum is closed for the construction of a new building that is expected to take 2 to 3 years. However, you can view the collections virtually on their website. Another incredible Tulsa art museum is the Philbrook Museum of Art. Wade Phillips, an oil magnate and philanthropist, and his wife Genevieve only lived in their stunning Italianate village for 11 years before donating it to the city as an art museum. The Philbrook Museum of Art includes 23 acres of gorgeous formal gardens and is home to a collection with pieces from all over the world. The museum's largest exhibit is of Native American works, particularly basketry, pottery, paintings, and jewelry. The historic Greenwood district, just north of downtown, is a destination to pay your respects and be enlightened. The neighborhood was a thriving Black community in the early 20th century before racism turned into hateful violence. It is estimated that between 150 to 300 individuals were killed, 800 injured, and 35 city blocks destroyed during 2 days of race riots on May 31st and June 1st, 1921. For years, the massacre was not taught in schools in an attempt to erase the horrific history. Visit the Greenwood Cultural Center, the nearby monuments, and read historic information plaques to learn about the events and the resilience of the community. Enjoy a short walk from the Greenwood Cultural Center south along Greenwood Avenue for nice shops, restaurants, and murals. Behind the Cultural Center is the John Hope Franklin Reconciliation Park, which memorializes the history of African Americans in Oklahoma. Other impressive Tulsa attractions worth visiting are the Woody Guthrie Center to explore the music and life of folk singer and author of the iconic American anthem, "This Land Is Your Land." The Gathering Place is a 66.5-acre riverfront park that Time magazine called one of the world's greatest places. Route 66 Historical Village, an open-air museum and tourism information center that includes a 1930s gas station, steam locomotive, and a 194-feet-high oil derrick. Buck Adams Cosmic Curios is a Route 66 souvenir store that operates out of a 1950s Pemco's gas station. Tulsa restaurant suggestions: Tally's Good Food Cafe, Ike's Chili, The Tavern, Brownie's Hamburger Stand, East Village Bohemian Pizzeria, Indolini's Pizzeria, Laffa Meta Eastern Restaurant and Bar, Jane's Delicatessen, Lone Wolf Banh Mi. The following are other Oklahoma top destinations worth researching for a visit. In the Northwest, there's Black Mesa State Park and Nature Preserve in Kenton, Little Sahara State Park in Waynoka, Salt Plains National Wildlife Refuge, Antelope Hills, Stafford's Space Museum in Weatherford. In the Southwest, there's General Tommy Franks Leadership Institute and Museum in Hobart, Museum of the Western Prairie in Altoona, Anadarko for the Southern Plains Indian Museum, and the National Hall of Fame for Famous American Indians. In the Northeast, there's Phillips Petroleum Company Museum in Bartsville, Pioneer Woman Mercantile in Pawhuska, Claremore for the Will Rogers Memorial Museum, J.M. Davis Arms and Historic Museum, and the Belvedere Mansion, Totem Pole Park in Foyle, Tahlequah for the Cherokee Heritage Center and the George M. Mural Home, Fort Gibson, 5 Civilized Tribes Museum in Muskogee, Honey Springs Battlefield in Chakotah, Creek National Capital in Okmulgee, Sequoia's Cabin in Salisaw. In the southeast, you can visit Spurrow Mounds, Choctaw National Museum in Tuscaloma, Chickasaw National Recreation Area, Turner Falls in Davis, Gene Autry Museum, Fort Washita Historic Site in Bryan, and the Wheelock Academy in Millerton. Oklahoma is a rugged beauty with many activities for travelers with different interests. It can be visited any time of the year and should never be a drive-through state. I hope this video gave you good information on interesting Oklahoma attractions that you could visit while traveling. Download the Travel OK Trip Planner app for more assistance. If you have insight or tips on any of these destinations or places nearby, please share them in the comments section for other travelers. Please support this channel by subscribing. If you are interested in other road trip idea videos, check out the playlist above and turn on the channel's notification bell for new video alerts. Thank you for watching. This has been Chris from Columbus, Ohio. Happy planning.